Let's look at these therapy dogs in the classroom again. So we're just over here on the internet. So therapy dogs are 60% of the colleges utilize these supposedly, and many middle schools and other schools. So these are becoming more and more prevalent. They're putting these dogs in the classrooms next to kids, claiming all sorts of supposed educational and other benefits. So let me just show you some of the grant money that the schools get. So 13,800. I've just keyword searched this search result for dollar sign. So let's just click through some of the dollar signs. 2,000, 4,000, 10,000, 15,000. There's one in here somewhere, 100,000. So there's a whole lot of these different tax shelter organizations. The Charlotte Helen Bacon Foundation, onefor1.org, Pets in the Classroom, uh, Hip Hip to Save. And so you get a bunch of money if you put a dog next to your kids, basically. Obviously, there's a lot more to it, but these are largely funded by donations and then your taxes too. So these foundations that are putting dogs in classrooms, they're 501c3 charities. So all the stuff they do, they can write off on their taxes. So I just wanted to show you that because obviously there's a lot of money involved in this. So speaking of money, what about the salaries for teachers? Teachers have a problem with their salaries. There's plenty of studies and anecdotes and interviews and news reports about this. And speaking of money, what about cutting all the physical education programs for kids? Why are they cutting all these physical education programs? They're going to stick the kid on the floor next to a dog where it breathes CO2 into the kid's face, where it sheds all type of nasty stuff into the kid's face. But they're not going to let the kid have some physical education. The same thing with school sports. The prices for uniforms and other stuff you need to participate in sports goes up, and then schools decrease the funding. They decrease the grants. They decrease the coaches. They decrease the sizes of the fields, the playgrounds. They basically reduce all of the outdoor play slowly but surely. Middle class and poor kids are ditching youth sports. So if they're going to spend all this money putting your kids next to dogs, how come they're not using that money to help teachers, help nutrition programs, add more physical education? They're taking all those things away. And then what are they adding? They're adding freaking dogs. These schools are cutting other stuff too, like art, music, gym classes, mountain biking programs that they used to have money for. You know, no more free helmets, but we'll put a dog next to you while you try to do your math homework. So while they claim that putting a kid next to a dog is going to help the kid with math and reading and focus or whatever, they're taking this stuff away from children. Physical activity is so good for you. I mean, if you don't know that, then, have you ever gone for a walk and just felt better? Have you ever been on a long car drive and open up the window and like all of a sudden you feel like energized? It's because you've been in there rebreathing your own CO2 for a long time. But, the health benefits of physical activity for children with their cognition, cardio, metabolic health, bone strength, healthy weight, lung health, all of these amazing benefits of being physically active are slowly but surely being taken away from these kids and being replaced with a mangy dog, a urine squirting, diarrhea dropping, CO2 breathing into your face dog in your classroom while they're taking away all these programs for the kids. So, right alongside all of this dog worship, Look at all the respiratory infections and other respiratory illnesses that are on the rise. It seems to get worse, like double, triple every year. Every time they do a report on this, every time they go around and interview mothers and fathers and pediatric people, it's like this problem keeps getting worse and worse. Pediatric respiratory illnesses, obesity. Well, let me show you something right here. See this word right here? Hypoxemia. Well, let's look up hypoxemia. It's an abnormal low level of oxygen in the blood. Okay, well, what is sitting next to your kid sucking oxygen right out of the air, pumping CO2 right into your kid's face? That's right, a dog in the classroom. These dogs that you're spending all this money on, they're just a liability and expense. Like these schools, sure, they get $100,000 grant to have a dog sit in the classroom, but then what? Now the dog has to be cleaned up after. There has to be a team of like 5 to 10 people just to maintain that dog. You have to have your shots, your grooming, your food. You have to have leashes and collars, and they give these dogs drugs while they're in the classroom, and then they just sit there and contribute to hypoxemia of your kids. If you watch my other video about how dogs mess with the posture of kids, you probably saw this picture. There's literally hundreds and thousands of pictures like this. This dog is sitting here sucking up the oxygen that these kids need for their brains to work. The kids have to crank their bodies like this kid is right here. Look at his hips are out of alignment. His head's all forward. His arms way up in the air. And then the teacher, she has to rub on the dog too. This is just some kind of weird indoctrination. While the dog sits there and contributes to this right here. It's one of the common issues with kids. So, what do you think about dogs in schools? Is there actually a benefit to this? Do these people that do this stuff actually care about kids? For example, they have published studies that claim the dogs help with learning experiences. But guess who funded those studies? The same organizations that are putting the dogs into the school. So it seems to me that if they really wanted to help the kids, they would enhance the physical education programs, help the kids get outside, and other stuff like that. Because those things have proven, time proven, known benefits. Whereas these dogs, they don't have any benefits and they pose a risk. They pose a risk to your kid's posture, the CO2, the pet dander, and everything else.